What are you wearing?
A Canadian tuxedo.
Canadian.
I'm a hockey player. Let's go Blues.
Let's go Blues.
Let's go Blues.
Who are you, Blues fan? We're bleeding blue with you. Let's go Blues! Let's go Blues! Let's go Blues!
Now please welcome to the ice for their pregame warm-up, presented by Scott Credit Union. Your St. Louis Blues!
Well, I screwed that up. It's the BlueNote Fan Report. Aloha and mahalo. I am Guy. And I am your host on the show that is by a fan, for the fan, and about you, the fans. How are you all doing today? Don't think this will be a long show. I really don't. I was actually, prior to coming on the show, I was in a really, really good mood. And then I just got gut punched by somebody. I'm not going to say who or what happened. It's just, somebody who has a negative view of me decided to open their mouth, and now it's kind of taking me back. So I'm kind of little crunched there, but I'll do what I can. Do you like how I opened the show? How I put the little post about the shows today, right? Did you catch those references? Let's see if anybody knows why I use those references. Oh, 3 people that taken their time to watch this show. I know Jason Nichols. Jason wishes that I would do a show like 18 hours a day. And Jason, I get it. I love it. Thank you. But I can't, man. And I can't right now. I can't do a show every day. There's just not enough going on. I'm just not that person, Jason. I don't let that stuff go. Just not that person. Just not me. Right? And that stuff hurts. It hurts heavily that person now believes what they believe about me. And that's just is what it is. I'm not going to be able to change how they think. There's nothing that I will ever do. There is nothing that I will ever do that is going to change how they think. I can. The only thing I control is how I react to it, and unfortunately, I don't know how to react to it any other way than the way I react to it. And Jason, since right now you're basically one of the few here, you're the only one that put a like in the air. Thank you, Jason. Greatly, greatly, greatly appreciate it. Rumors. Kind of waiting to see if a few people show up. Matt, I don't say names. I will never ever say a name. I don't do that. I will never talk bad about somebody on this show. I will not do that. Right? That's not me. Why not? You guys want some windy action? We can get some windy action. He seems to be my guardian angel. He'll come and rescue me when I'm about to go down the tube. So why not bring in some windies? By the way, we talked about Windy and his banners. I actually have the championship banner and forgot it. All right? I have it and forgot it. It's Shag-alicious. Yeah, I get that, but they this person didn't even need to make a comment, right? And they didn't even need to make a comment. It's something that didn't even doesn't bother them, doesn't have anything to do with them, and they went and made a comment, and it wasn't a bad comment. It was just the fact that they commented, right? They didn't need to, and that just kind of, I take that shit seriously. That shit hurts me, right? Yeah, I know everybody says, "Oh, I don't care what other people think about me." Yeah, that's so full of shit, right? I do care what people think about me, and anybody who says they don't, yeah, I'm not, yeah, not believing that, not agreeing with that at all. Um, so back to what I was talking about: rumors, rumors, rumors. Let's talk about rumors. Two big ones have come up, right? Two big ones. First of all, before I get into rumors, let me say a big, big thank you to Joe Hamilton. Right? I mean, he had a lot of fun. Check out his show, Crunch Time. If you look at, um, if you look at, search up Crunch Time on Facebook. Let me see. Hold on a second. Let's see if I got Crunch Time around here somewhere. I might. Give me a moment. Here we go. Da 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 da. Let me see here. Bum bum bum. There it is. There is the Crunch Time page. Check it out. That's where he posts his show. Follow him. Give him a bunch of followers if you can. Share his show out there. See if you can help him out. Um, it was a great show. Great show that he was on with us. Really had some good discussions, and I think I brought him. I felt like I may have brought him into some of my thinking. I really did. I think that he may have changed a little bit of his tune to what he thought things were. You still out there, Shags? Wendy, I sent you a link. I'm waiting for Wendy to talk about some of these rumors, right? And Joe just posted something in a group. The group is dun 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 dun. St. Louis, I bleed blue, and I don't know if he put in a poll or not. We can talk about this. I already know who I think it should be. Right. We'll get to that a little bit later. Right. Oh, he's booting up his computer. Okay. No problem. Windows. Few people here. Only one like. Come on, guys. If you're watching on Facebook, give that thumb in the air. Come on. Show me some likes. Show me some love. Give me a heart. Give me a little bit of heart. Dun 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 dun. Me with my messed up wrist. Yeah, my wrist is still messed up. Well, I'll bring it up now. Joe put this post out there in the St. Louis I Bleed Blue, and who should the next captain of the blue who should be the next captain of St. Louis Blues? I guess that's something NHL put out. I don't know if he put that or if it's something that was on NHL. But when I look, I think the captain's dead nailed. Right? I think it's nailed. I think that the contracts nailed it, and what's happening in the NHL nailed it. I think it's set. But I also think that they don't go with a captain this year. I think they go with 6 A's and give the guy that they want to be a captain the time to get into it. Okay, it was a post from an NHL Network. Okay, thank you, Wendy. Right. I think it's Thomas. I think it can't be anything other than Thomas. I know a lot of people think Shin. You know, Shin's only got 2 years left. I think that having a captain with a known shelf life, right, or with a captain in waiting, that doesn't help. Oh, I disagree with that completely, Shags. I disagree with that completely, bud. Absolutely disagree with that. Dun dun dun. And let's welcome in my bud, my pal, my friend, Mr. Windelicious. Hey, Windy, how you doing, buddy?
Good, are you?
Oh, not bad, not bad. Hey, are you? Does it feel like there's a delay?
Yeah, just
Yeah, I ran into that with Joe Hamilton. It felt like there might be a 10 to 15
like
second
there
delay.
was a delay.
Yeah, I might have to let we ran into that with Joe the other day, and so let's get into, before we get into the captain thing, let's get into the rumors. There is a rumor going around, and I don't know how solid it is. I think it's somebody made it up and wanted to see how it would play, and it was the Toronto Maple Leafs trading Nylander, who's in the last year of his contract at $6.5 million, to the St. Louis Blues for Colton Parayko and Jake Neighbors. I don't see that at all. There's so much. I don't see how any GM could pull that trigger. Right? Especially on the Blues end. With what you're giving up for what you're getting, there's no way I could pull that trigger. What about you, Wendy? Might be having some StreamYard issues here. I think Wendy's having some StreamYard issues. I think he's frozen on me. My OBS has been acting up with StreamYard and with some other things lately. Oh, nobody watching today. See, I had a feeling. I had a feeling something was going on. Well, that depends on what happens to the cap. If the cap goes up $4 million, and he'll take a $1.5 million raise, I think he does. Right? Well, I'm having issues with StreamYard. Let me I don't know if Wendy will be able to get in. Let me throw something out to Shagman. See if Shagalicious wants to join me. I just heard Wendy pop in. I don't have it. I'm not looking at that screen right this moment. So, are you back, Windelicious? I think he's having some problems. All right, I'll kind of pull him down until I see him pop up and see what happens. But I just don't. The two things with that for me, right? You're bringing in a wing and taking away a defenseman. Well, okay. I think. Well, here we go. Have I got you, Wendy? Oh nope, he got really slow. You're bringing in a wing and taking away a defenseman, and everyone feels like we're heavy on the defense, and we need to get rid of one of them. Okay, I don't, but that's the thought process. Bringing in the wing, especially an experienced wing like that, I see when I see that. When I see, oh, here we go. Shaggy, have I got you, buddy?
You have got me, buddy. What's going on?
Oh, good. And you're not on a delay. You're not on a lag. So,
well, I pay for some good internet.
Well,
Trust me.
no, the last couple of days, people on StreamYard have come on and joined me, have been on a lag. Joe was in a lag. Are you with me, Wendy, or are you in a lag?
I think it's working now. I think it was
Yeah.
just my browser I was on.
Okay. So let's go back into this. So let's talk about this rumor that I seen. First of all, I think it's all that's all it is. Right? That's all it is. I don't think that there's nothing to be made of it. That it's an absolute somebody said, let's float this and see what happens. One of the junk websites, I don't know. I didn't see where the source was. I'm not sure. But the trade was Nylander from Toronto for Parayko and Neighbors. As a GM, I don't see any way that I could ever make that trade. None whatsoever. Right? I just can't. Now, the reasons I can't. Should I go into the reasons I can't, or should I let you guys go first?
No. I want to know your reason first.
Okay. Well, first is Nylander's on the last year of his contract. More than likely, unless you can get him to sign to an extension, you're trading him away at mid-season for draft picks or prospects. So in the all actuality, he doesn't help your team at all. Right? I don't see him helping your team. Then you look at the two pieces you're giving away. First, you're giving away Parayko. No, you're bringing in a left wing or right wing and taking out a left defense. Blues are shaky at left defense to begin with. So taking one away, even one that's played as off as Parayko has, hurts you even more. I think you'll get hurt even more by taking him away. I know we have defensemen in the behind, but I just don't see. Parayko's got 6 more years with no trade clause on his contract for that $6.5 million. I mean, Toronto to take on that much salary for that long. I mean, that trade right there, that doesn't make sense for them. And then Neighbors. You can't give up Neighbors. You cannot. You have sat there and said you want to get younger and more skilled. Well, if you want to get younger and more skilled, how do you give up Neighbors? I don't see any GM who's made the statement of I want to be younger and more skilled giving up Jake Neighbors. That makes 0 sense to me.
Yeah.
Here's the thing. A guy like Nylander, I feel like as much upside as he's going to bring to whatever team he does, I don't know why, but I feel like Nylander's more of a completion piece than a piece for a team like the Blues, who he might bring them to a higher level, but he's not necessarily taking them to the playoffs. So I don't know what's the purpose of the Blues making any trades except for trades that are building them towards the future. There's no reason in the world to trade for a guy who I think I don't know how many more years he's left, and I don't know if he even has a chance for producing anything on a team that doesn't necessarily have the same talent that he has where he is now.
Yeah, so that's why this rumor, I mean, as soon as I seen it, and then here's the other thing. Parayko has come out and said, I like playing in St. Louis. I don't want to leave St. Louis. I think that right there tells you he's not going to waive that clause. I don't see any way that he waives that clause. You with us, Wendy?
Yeah, I'm trying to figure out where you're seeing this rumor from because I haven't seen anything about Nylander to St. Louis.
It
because
was posted in one of the groups. It was posted in a group. Hold on. I think somebody. Here. Hold on a second.
Because I've heard more of Nylander to like Chicago or Nylander to Montreal over like St. Louis.
Hold on. Here it is. Hold on a second, Wind. trying to get all my buttons going here. So this is. There we go. There's what I seen.
Let me see this thing.
All right. I don't
Who
know
was
where.
it?
Who's it by?
I don't know. That I do not know.
Then you can't trust it.
Oh, I don't trust it. I honestly don't trust it. And there's the part of it there.
This
Nylander
looks
at
to me.
six-
This
at
looks to
basically
me.
7 million.
This looks
Looks
to
like
me
one of those clickbait websites.
Yeah, that's what it reminds me of.
Yeah, no, that's what I think it is too. Right?
But
That's
if you
what I-
just want to
that's what I
discuss
think.
the idea, yeah, so forget about who's putting it out there, that it's a
Yeah.
rumor. I think that it's just an idea. Money wise, it makes sense. So that's why the idea is actually being brought up. But
Oh,
I
I
feel
didn't even
like-
see that first round pick in 24. Right there. That's enough for me to say no.
yeah, no, there's no reason to trade neighbors unless you're getting back like a ridiculous talent.
Well, yeah, you're giving away 3 pieces, long-term pieces for a rental.
How old is Pareko?
30, I think.
And Nylander's also, right?
Nylander's
Nylander.
27.
Okay,
He's
so you're
27?
taking Nylander, who's basically supposed to be in his prime, but not producing like a top 3, or maybe he's maybe a top 6.
He had a 40-goal season last year.
Okay, so if you're putting him as a top, again, if he goes to the Blues, is he putting up 40 goals?
Not with that roster.
Exactly. So he's not a 40-point player on that team. We're not talking about a guy who's coming to the Blues and then going to be producing what he did last year, right? So when you know that's not going to be coming up, then you don't make that trade for a guy like Pareko and Neighbors who have a higher chance of producing for a team that really does not have the depth like that.
There's no way. So the Blues have handcuffed themselves with 4 defensive contracts. They have 4 defensive contracts that have handcuffed themselves for at least 2 more years, right? Letty has 2 years left on his. He's got a modified, or he's got a full no trade. Krug has, I want to say 4 or 5 left on his, 4 left on his. And he's got, here we go. So don't you love Cap Friendly now when it comes up? They have support free content. And, if you hit continue, and if you don't, it says continue without supporting us. Don't you love that? So you have Justin Falk.
That's good advertisement, bro. That's good
Yeah.
advertisement.
Justin Falk, who has 4 more years left, counting this year, with the full no trade, right? No, he in 25 he submits a 15-team no trade list. Krug, same deal, exact same deal. He has the same 15 no trade list starting in 25-26. So 2 more years, this year and next year, they're can't go without a wave. Pareko is signed all the way through, let's see here, to the end of 29-30, right? And he's got a full no trade until July 1st of 28 when he submits the 15 team. Then you have Nick Letty, who has 3 more years, and he's got, starting in 25 again, a 16-team no trade list. The only guy that you might be able to trade is Scandella, who's on the last year of his deal, and he has a modified where he submits a 17 no trade list. And I bet you I can guess where all 7 of those teams are. Right? Hey, Anthony.
Here's the thing. At the end of the day, what's the point? I don't even understand.
I like the Cubs
where
shirt
that
you're
person's
wearing.
Oh yeah. I'll tell you, I actually got this because I went to the Field of Dreams game 2 years ago, and I instead of like flying to Iowa is like crazy. So what we did is we actually flew to Chicago and stayed there overnight, and then drove by day to Iowa, and gorgeous drive, by the way, and it was greatest baseball game I ever went to. Ridiculous. No one was able to hit the ball, but yeah, And yeah. Anyways, there's no point in making that in making any. Honestly, if I'm the Blues right now, I'm only taking calls for deals in which people are pretty much handing us two or three pieces for next year, whether it's picks, whether it's players. It's got to be where you're getting back for a guy like Neighbors. Like, I don't mind giving up for Parayko and Neighbors, but I want back a potential first round pick, whether it's a late rounder or or early second round pick. It's got to be someone where I know I'm getting back a pick that's worth it, and I'm getting back a player that I know is going to be able to be worth it. Because I know
you're the
Neighbors
Blues,
is
there's a
future
good
player.
chance that if you're the Blues, you got to be looking at a good chance that your pick next year is a top 10 pick.
Correct. And therefore
Right?
you want to, hey, imagine you go ahead and turn another player into the
Yeah.
25th or something like that pick in next year's draft, and then you move that up and you somehow move up in the draft and you take a guy at like the Blues did when they what was it? How many years ago that when they had that top 10 pick, they had like two, they had like a top 10 pick and also like a mid-round pick, right?
We haven't had a top 10 pick. We haven't had a top 10 pick since Petrangelo. So you're
No,
going
I'm saying,
way
isn't
back.
Petrangelo's year you got more than one? Didn't you have more than one first round pick?
I don't think so. I think 2008 we had 3 first round picks.
Yeah, so that was the year. And either way,
but we didn't have like a high pick in that.
okay, but those always help your future.
Yeah. Well, they did. Those 3 guys, all 3 of those guys that the Blues picked in that first round, won a cup.
There you go. So at the end of the
Right.
day, getting yourself another first round pick next year, I am if I'm a Blues manager right now, I'm in the front office there. I'm pushing that we are not trading anyone we'll package guys, but I'm not trading anyone without getting me back a great pick for next year. Because I think if I'm the Blues, building a team now without having to wait around with like having to sign free agents and trade and all that, with guys that you have around, Binnington only has a certain amount of time. And by that time, what's his name's already going to take over behind him. And that's going to be that. And you're going to be and you're going to be done with Binnington.
Well, I disagree with. I don't think. Man, the good thing with Binnington is, I mean, you have the one area where the Blues I think are stacked in the pipeline or in the organization is goaltender.
Again, right. So therefore, you're not worried about Binnington, and I'm not even bringing up trading Binnington because I think that the Blues don't want to trade Binnington for a whole nother reason. I think that just hurts the Blues, if you know what I mean.
Oh yeah, I think it does
to
too.
send a guy who's done so much for your city to say that you're going anywhere. You know what I mean? Binnington's not moving anywhere. The guys that I could say might move, probably at this point you would tell me will not be moved.
Yeah.
Because I think
when we had Joe Hamilton on, he brought up, I don't know if you, the other day when I had Joe on, I think you guys both were there. Well, you were both in the chat room.
Yeah.
They brought up, Binnington and his antics. And I jumped back. I said, hold on a second. Right? You go back and you look at some of the greatest goaltenders in the history of the NHL, and they were all fiery. Every single one of them. Right?
Hey, guy, you're talking to a guy who's on the court. I could be a little annoying to certain people. I'm not the type of person where I look at a guy and say, oh, this guy acts up. How many of you would absolutely love to have Marchand on your team? Yeah, the guy talks a game. The guy could be mean. The guy is not necessarily the greatest personality, but when he's on your team, he's standing up for you. He's going to be one of the greatest teammates you'll ever have. I look at a guy like Trouba. Look at a guy like Ryan Reeves. I look at guys out there who may not necessarily look on the ice like the greatest of friends. They'll hit you hard. They'll be mean. They may do some antics. They might talk trash to you. You know what I mean? Those type of guys, a Mark Stone, whoever you want to throw at me, who might talk trash to you the whole game. Those players create the personality of your team. Those players carry you. When you get a guy that's hit hard on your team, that's going to carry you. I don't see a reason
Yeah,
why
but
those guys are.
their suspensions take away a lot.
Except I will take on if I get hit by someone and I see him go beat the garbage out of whatever and do some type of illegal hit back to him and he's kicked out for 3 games. Yeah, 3 games we don't have him.
The next time Marshawn gets suspended, I could see it being 12 to 15 games.
Interesting.
I can easily see. The last time he got suspended, it was 8 games, wasn't it?
I think so.
Yeah, he gets suspended again. You're talking them looking at a quarter of the season, right?
Right.
You think about this: 82 games, a quarter of the season is what 6, 8, 16, 20 games, right? 20 or so games. 20 games, and I could see his next suspension getting close to that, being 12, 15, 16 games. Right? If you get a guy that gets, and here's my thing, talking about captains, right? If Boston makes Marshawn the captain, I got to tell you that sets a very dangerous precedent. Right? I think that sets an extremely, extremely dangerous precedent. What do you think about that, Wendy?
I have. What was it that you were saying? My freaking Wi-Fi just crashed on me for a second.
If the Boston makes Marshawn the captain, that is setting a very dangerous precedent.
Yeah and no. The reason why I'm saying where there can be and can't is this if they name Marshawn captain, it's out of the fact that he's had the tenured with that team and he's become one of the leaders in recent years. And
Guy, I'm gonna go help my wife bring in the packages, but I'll be right. I'm still staying here, so
okay.
I'm not leaving.
It feels like in the last couple of years, his antics haven't been prevalent to his game. He's actually played more where it's not to his game, where he's had those antics. It
wasn't last season, it was season before last. He got suspended for 8 games.
Let me check the last time Marshawn was suspended.
Right. And the last time he got suspended, it was for 8 games. I think if he gets suspended again, you're looking at anywhere from 12 to 16 games.
I'm going to look up his suspension history real quick.
I wish there was a way to find that. I haven't been, other than if it's in Wikipedia, I haven't been able to find something that lists player suspensions. Right.
For Marshawn, it's easier to find it.
Well, yeah. Right. For me, when you have a guy that is known around the league like he is,
yeah,
and then you go and that's like making Tom Wilson captain.
Did they officially name him captain today?
No.
Okay.
I said if.
Okay.
I think training camp starts next week.
I think so.
Right, next week or the week after, somewhere around the 15th. Right. I'm not talking about Swartz or Tarasenko there, JWT Travel. It's just for me, I really struggle with who Marchand is, and you know, the tiger doesn't, you know, a leopard can't change his spots. And I'm almost dead certain the last time he got suspended, it was 8 games.
6 games.
6?
Yeah.
What was that 6 games for?
Let me see what it was.
Right. I just there's to me that's one of those areas where the NHL has to step in.
Well, I actually believe that at a certain point, the NHL
It was
needs
a high sticking penalty.
Well, I still believe that.
Yeah, didn't he whack somebody across the head?
I'm trying to figure it all out.
I'm saying I believe the NHL at a certain point is going to have to step in general when it comes to all these physicality in the game. And instead of stopping the fighting, I think they just need to really be harsh on certain rules, meaning they have to warn the players that on certain hits, we're giving a minimum of these games, and you could basically, we might give more, we're not giving less than this amount on those type of hits, and therefore players will be more discouraged from doing that. And I think for fighting, I just think that it has to be something like, you know, the MLB made like a steroid rule where it was basically like you get caught once, this amount of suspensions, you get caught twice, you get this amount of suspensions. They did these type of things. I think it has to be like if you fight once, like you have like two, 3 times of like warnings, and then it becomes like, okay, instead of giving you a 3-game suspension, we're giving you a 7-game suspension. And without,
first of all, here's what I think the league needs to do, right? They need to absolutely, when it comes to knees, right? They need to take a better look. And when a guy goes after knees, when a guy slew foots, when a guy does something like that, just whether it's called or not, instantly suspend them. And then the refs need to start really paying attention. This is why I advocate for a fifth official. I think there should be a 5th official off the ice, in the air, a video type official that when play stops can go down, can call, say, hey, you guys missed this play. Here it is. You need to talk to that player and tell him we're sending this to the league.
Well, I telling the player that we're sending something to a league during the game, I don't think helps. I think it's more of something that which I think that players should just be told before the season on a very serious note. And I think that that's something that that players should just be warned about strongly, and they should know, on certain plays, the refs could just simply tell them, hey, look, just letting you know, if there's any reason to think that this play was any type of hit, whatever it is, and especially if you get kicked out of a game for a bat for one of these hits or something like that, suspension has to come automatically with that. You can't just let the guy get away with some type of thing. That has an automatic suspension. Getting kicked out of a game for a illegal hit or such, like a guy spits. I know they have the 3-game automatic. So if that's true, then if a guy has a hit that's purely disgusting, you got to do an automatic suspension. Whether it's 3 games like the spitting, whether it's a little less, whether it's more, I think it should be 3 is perfect for a first hit. For a second offense, you up it to 5. For a third offense, they get a 10-game suspension. I think that that's something that you have to just put on guys. I know that there's many hits that we will argue if it's legal or not. On those type of hits, that's where the league has to decide. Well, they could look at the guy and say, hey, we warned you twice. This hit's already in between. We're not giving you the benefit of the doubt. You're getting the 10-game suspension. You know what I mean? That's an idea. that's a way of controlling guys, because then they don't want to do that hit, because then they go, hey, if I have even an in between and they think, I'm losing it, they're just going to give me a 10-game suspension. So I think they need more of that control over the players, in which players are just scared of what can happen if they do that hit.
I'll be here's what I'd like to see, and I'll tell you straight up. I wish the NHL would start suspending officials.
By the way, they do get not suspensions, but they do get, I think, fines for bad calls.
Oh, they have. Well, look what Tim Peel, right? Him and his hot mic. They basically made him retire.
They fired.
Huh?
They basically fired him.
Well, retired, fired. He had already had his papers in, so they just gave him early retirement. But for example, and I'm going to bring this back, the Hartman hit, the Hartman play. Come on, Wendy. When you
keep bringing it up like it's the Kadri's thing all over again.
Kadri, that's another one where the refs completely blew that one. Right? The refs completely blew that one. And it's not only that, what about during the Stanley Cup Finals? How many times did Hill throw his blocker at somebody, hit somebody with his blocker, and not one time get thrown out of the game?
Well, that's because during the playoffs, they need to have an extra ref in games. During the playoffs, they need to have, I told you this already, Guy, we agreed to this. You need to have another ref that's either upstairs or something like that.
Well, that's what I'm talking about. That's exactly what
this discussion by the way, about. They have that in the NFL. They have that in other sports where there is another ref during the playoffs to man the sidelines, because you need another ref.
They have now during the playoffs, they have a backup ref. They have a backup ref.
A backup ref is not a help, because the backup
they aren't doing anything.
They're not doing anything. If you have a guy sitting, let's say, in a box, right? If you have a ref that literally sits in a box upstairs, and he could be the backup ref as well, and you could have another backup as well if you want, and he goes upstairs, and his job is when the refs have a questionable call, they stop and let's say they sometimes have a question. What did you see? And they get together to talk about it. Let's say you had let's say the three refs did not see what's going on, and they don't have a clear idea, and they're going to make a bad call automatically. Then guess what? You go upstairs to the upstairs guy, and you say, and into every conversation, you put in a little mic in his ear when they're discussing it, and he could just give in his 2 cents. Hey, I saw him cross that line. That's an offside. It's not good. I know that you want to say that maybe the puck, maybe the skate. It's hard to tell. I see it from above like this. And they can make a clearer call. I don't think that takes longer. And I don't think that's a bad idea. I just think in general, and I mentioned this to you guys maybe 2 streams ago that I was on, that the NHL is not interested in making the sport better. They're not.
I kind of... In some ways, I agree with you.
I don't feel like they. How many times have you seen the NHL put out a thing? Hey, we're having a discussion about these ideas. I never seen these ideas just come out. In MLB, I get a list. I get Bleacher Report and who knows what else putting out a list of like rules that they're going to be discussing. Even if the rules might seem stupid, that's for the owners and for the management and front office of the NHL to discuss it. Yeah, some of them you might look at and go, what are you thinking? Like a man on second in their extra innings. But guess what? That has sped up the game. They added a pitch clock. That sped up the game. And I don't think any of those things have ruined the sport. I don't like the man on second because I think it creates less of a baseball talent, and it's more of just a how do you get the guy in? Like I feel like it's little leagues a little bit. But at the end of the day, it has sped up the game. And I haven't seen a game where, like, honestly, you lost because there was a man on second and you played better. I haven't really seen that much. Honestly,
I honestly don't like the man on second. I don't want to get into baseball.
I just don't. I don't like. But that's at least the sport showing an effort to make the sport better.
Here's the thing.
I would do that. I would do that in the 13th inning. I think doing it right away
Right. I hear you. That's actually not a stupid idea. Like, let it wait off a little bit.
Here's the thing. The Champions Hockey League just announced their new rules that they put into place.
Yeah.
I want to hear what your guys' thoughts are on it.
Go. I don't know. I hadn't heard him, so
I could
wanna
just
hear
say it. So, shorthanded goal, it takes away the power play. Power play lasts 2 minutes long. No matter what, you score on it, you keep the power play rolling, including if you have the extra attacker for delay penalty, the power play remains in effect.
That one I like. That I like. That I absolutely like. I don't think on the extra attacker that if you score that the penalty should go away. I've never did like that. Right?
Mm-hmm.
To me, either that or you count it as a power play goal. That's
I think they might actually go ahead and count them as power play goals, but they're going to still keep the power play where they can keep it where it's active.
What Champions League? This is over in Europe, right?
Yes, this is in Europe. So each team from each respective champion in their respective leagues, they meet up in one tournament called the CHL Champion Hockey League, and they all meet up and contend for I can't remember the name of the trophy, but the CHL Cup or whatever it's called. So now they're going to implicate where if you have a power play and you score on it, you keep the power play, it keeps rolling for the remainder of the 2 minutes. The shorthanded team, if they score on it, they score a shorthanded goal, the power play turn is now over. And then
I really like that one.
And then the also the extra attacker on delay penalty leads to you. If you score, you still get your power play.
I got one more for you that I think they should do. Right along those lines, if you're awarded a penalty shot and you miss it, you get a 2-minute power play.
I don't think that will ever happen.
I think it should happen, right? Because where do you have now on the power play? You have a 20% chance, standard, of scoring a goal. Correct? Give or take.
Yeah, just about.
On a penalty shot, you have a 40% chance.
Mm-hmm.
More or less, right? So you're doubling your chances. The problem is the guy that creates the penalty shot.
Right.
There's a good chance that he stopped the goal from being scored to begin with.
Correct.
You're letting him off the hook, completely off the hook. If your goalie saves the shot, why let him off the hook? You shouldn't let him off the hook. Apparently, Top Shelf Hockey posted a video about Nylander of the Blues 2 hours ago on YouTube.
Interesting.
Yeah, I
Well,
still
here's the
think it's
thing.
coming from the jump
I
shot.
don't think. I think the team that would actually. I mean, Nylander's only 6. How much cap space does? How much cap space does the Oilers have?
The Oilers? Not much. The Blues have none. The Blues
They're-
have like 200,000.
The Oilers are right up to the cap.
Who has cap space? Do the Ducks have cap space for Nylander? That would
They're over.
The Hawks and
The Oilers
Ducks
are
have the
over.
most cap space.
So why
So
wouldn't the
well, here-
Ducks
you know
go for
what?
Nylander?
This right here tells me this trade is not going to happen. Right? Now, I don't know how much they have of LTIR coming, but the Toronto Maple Leafs, as of right now, are $13.2 million over the cap.
I think they have 2 players that are expected to go to LTIR, including Matt Murray, which that is $6.5 million, if I remember correctly. And one other, and Muzzin, I believe, also.
Muzzin,
going.
yeah, they've got Muzzin and Murray, and that's only 10 million.
Yeah.
And they're 13 million over, so they're still high.
The thing is with Nylander, I think it's going to be a team like the Blackhawks, like the Ducks, going after him. The teams that have the salary cap space that can do something like that, and a ton of draft capital.
I just now go. So here's the teams that are over the cap right now, right? As of today, the Maple Leafs 13.2 million over.
Mhm.
Tampa Bay Lightning just under 7 million over. Canucks just under 5 million over. The Avalanche, same thing, just under 5 million over.
Landeskog will be on LTIR, so
Yeah.
that knocks off so much of their
The
cap.
Canadians 4.7 million over.
Carey Price will be going to LTIR, so
Carey
that's
Price
ten
is
and a
probably
half
gonna end up
million.
retiring. I can see Carey Price retiring.
He can't announce retirement, and it will have to be LTIR.
Yeah.
So he will be LTIR, and that's 10.5 million off the books for into the LTIR.
Vegas Golden Knights 4.1 million over.
Robin Leonard probably LTIR again.
Florida Panthers 1.1 million over.
That's easier to handle because they can move out a cheaper
Put
contract.
somebody in minors or waive somebody.
Yep,
Yeah.
that's an easier one to handle, being one over.
Capitals. Yeah, Capitals 700,000 over.
That's nothing to really
Islander,
worry about.
I know. I'm just letting you know who's
Yeah.
over the cap.
Yeah, I know.
Cap friendly, right? And they have listed the LTIR candidate, and I missed that. So
that's new.
Montreal, so let's go back. Montreal is 13 million over, 13.2. They have 10.3 in LTIR candidates, right?
So Carey Price.
No, that's Toronto.
Oh, you said
Right.
Montreal.
No, I'm not there yet. I meant Toronto. Sorry. Tampa Bay Lightning are 6.9 over. They have 6.8
Okay.
in LTIR candidates. Vancouver Canucks, they're 4.9 over. They have 5.7 in candidates, so they got some room. Avalanche 4.9 over. They have 7 million. Right here's what you were talking. Montreal 4.7 over. They have 10 million.
Yep.
In space. Right. Oh, LTIR space.
I'm just shocked Anaheim hasn't used their cap
Okay.
space to sign Zegras yet.
Yeah, that really surprises me. The Capital, or where are we at? The Panthers, who I said were 1.1 million over,
Yeah.
have 11 million in LTIR candidates.
Who are they
And-
projecting for that?
Hold on a second.
That's one I want to hear.
Ekblad and Montour.
Aaron Ekblad will be maybe on LTIR for like 3 months, and same with Montour.
Right. Well, then they've got to work something out. But they also have Spencer Knight is in player assistance.
It sounds like Knight is ready to return to the NHL, and he will be it sounds like he will back up Bobrovsky next year.
What about Hill?
Hill?
Oh no, that was for the Panthers. Sorry. The Capitals. Now, the following teams are over the cap with no LTIR candidates.
Okay.
Capitals 700,000.
They can move out of contract.
400,000. Yeah, I mean, you move one guy. You move one guy from your active roster to your
Waivers.
minor league, right?
Place the player on waivers, and then they're fine.
Yeah. Islanders 400,000. Oilers 300,000. Dallas Stars 300,000. Calgary Flames 200,000. Now you have Pittsburgh, who is 79,000 over, but they have 6 million in potential LTIR candidates.
Who's projected?
Give me a moment, and I will tell you. Jake Gunsel.
Gensel's injured?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, he is. He's
out for the year.
is he? I didn't
Yeah,
realize
he's
he
out.
was out that long. Going to be out that long.
Yeah.
That was one of the
then-
things that was a problem for Pittsburgh to suddenly figure out, because that was something that was like a real shocker. He provided a lot, and
Yeah,
they sent
that's a
away
really good player out of there.
I mean, Carlson does make up that spot, sort of.
Okay. Hey guys, hey, the Rangers are $46,000 over with no LTIR space.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
Right?
Thank you.
Everybody else has cap space. Right now, the most cap space is
Anaheim.
Anaheim with 16.
Why would they not go for Nylander? I think Nylander's a great fit for the Anaheim Ducks.
Not until you sign Zegras.
Zegras
You
is
have to sign Zegras.
Zegras sounds like
I think as much as Zegras is going to be, I don't believe in Zegras as much as some people do. I think he's a little more finesse and showboaty compared to his actual talent.
You know what? But I'm sorry that he has the it factor. He has that
Correct.
thing that
as much as he's an it factor, he's not being paid like a top 5 NHL player.
and I think that's what Verbeek is seeing in Zegras. He has all the skill, but he's not that top player for the NHL.
Do you know Zegras' stats for last year?
They weren't that good, if I remember correctly.
They're not
Okay,
great.
back
They're
to
not
me,
great.
guys. Back to me. Then you have the Blackhawks at $12.8 million. Sabres, $8.7 million. Predators, $7.9 million. This is their cap space. Detroit Red Wings, $5.1 million. Columbus Blue Jackets, $4.7 million. San Jose Sharks, $3.9 million. Arizona, $3.9 million. New Jersey Devils, $1.9 million. Winnipeg, $1.7 million. Minnesota, $1.6 million. The Kraken have 900,000. Our Hurricanes have 900,000. Ottawa Senators, 900,000. Philadelphia Flyers have 867,000, but they also have 6.2 in LTIR candidate. I'm not sure who that is.
Sean Couturier, maybe.
We can look it up. Couturier and Cam Atkinson.
Okay, I guessed right.
Actually, they're looking at 13 million.
I think Couturier's coming off LTIR this year. He was on it quite a bit last year. I think he's coming off this year.
Right. And then you have Boston and St. Louis. Boston is 429,000. St. Louis is 293,000. The Kings are 123,000. I'm telling you right now, just looking at the Nylander situation, there's still $3 million over the cap. You know, they're actually what they're projecting is $2.9 million, basically $3 million over the cap.
Mm-hmm.
Right there, you can't take on any salary whatsoever with Nylander.
Yeah.
So whatever you trade Nylander for, it's not $1 in, $1 out. It's $1 out, 50 cents in. That's the only way you can make that work.
You want to know what player I feel like is hurting the Maple Leafs the most, especially with their cap hit?
I bet it's probably not. I think I know who you're going to say, but I disagree with this completely.
Currently, it's John Tavares.
Oh wow, you surprised me. I thought you were.
I actually believe that Tavares actually held that team up a lot last year. I'm sorry.
Oh, in my opinion, Tavares is an overrated captain and way overpaid. He hasn't done
it for a minute.
Oh, I wonder what happened to Guy.
I'm saying I think Tavares as maybe a little bit underdone a little bit for what he was meant to do.
Mhm.
I think that he made a lot of big plays. If you remember his overtime winner and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So those type of things are things that he does provide. but he's going to be on the downfall. I think he's actually, if you're saying that he's the prime suspect for money wise, let's see how that first half goes with the Maple Leafs, and let's see if they say, well, Tavares, maybe we're better without you, and we flip you over to a team who wants a veteran for maybe a couple pieces in other areas. Maybe it's a okay forward and a defenseman to build depth or whatever it is, and you don't know what injuries show up. Tavares is going to be slowly but surely slowing down more and more. So being that that's true, like
that Tavares was a handicap contract to begin with, right? Matthews, I'm sorry, Matthews is the guy you build around, not Tavares.
I don't understand why they have not allowed this team to, instead of just bringing in players, they have not built a style of play. Don't you feel like the Maple Leafs don't have a style of play?
No,
After this offseason with the acquisitions, I see where they want to go. But they've never had a true identity.
They need to get an identity. They need one.
They have an identity. In the first round.
Except for this year.
Yeah, well, yeah, but they didn't look good in the second.
No, they did not.
He would look good slotted next to Thomas and Kyrou on the power play for you. Nylander, if Nylander comes here, he's not getting $9 million, right? If Nylander comes and signs an extension with St. Louis, he's making $7 million now. It's for 7, 5, or 8. It's not going to be, because I don't see the Blues paying, because you've only got $4 million. You're hoping to get $4 million in cap space, extra cap space next year. And to be honest, I'm concerned that with all the TV issues, that they go ahead and say it's only going to be $1 million again.
I don't know. But Nylander's an interesting topic with the fact there are teams out there that have the salary cap space to do it. And the stuff to give out to get Nylander. But I feel like, yes, the Hawks have been in rumors also to get William Nylander. Sorry, I keep forgetting that we've had the other 2 Nylanders in Chicago's history, and they both sucked. But William's actually the best out of the 3 Nylanders in the NHL.
If you are a NHL player on the last year of his contract, hoping to, make it big, why would you go to Chicago?
The fact you get to play with Connor Bedard and put up a...
You know what? You know what Connor Bedard's proved in the NHL? You know what he's proved in the NHL? 0. Nothing. He's proved nothing.
You also get to play in a city that a lot of players love to play in.
But if your numbers are going to drop because the team with you sucks, and you're trying to get a paycheck, that's going to be held against you in a court of law, in the court of GM's law, right? In the court of GMs, that's going to be held against you. I'm sorry, I think that Brian Green was pulling some shit here. He said that he thought Thomas and Kyrou could have the same effect on the Blues that McDavid and Draisaitl have on Edmonton. And it's possible, but I think any good 2 solid players can have that effect. Right? It's just that those 2 guys are way above and beyond. I think Edmonton had 6 guys on the top 70 guys in the NHL right now. That's telling you something.
Wow.
Right?
Well, here's the thing. I think, okay, I keep repeating this, but I feel like it's so important. And okay, Wendy's gonna hate this, but this is how I believe it works with rookies, being that there's 2 on the Rangers that have, I can't say failed, but underplayed.
Well, New York doesn't know how to develop forward prospects.
No, they don't know how to develop. They don't know how to take a player whose path to development is simple and instead just make it more complicated.
I could say the Rangers are great at developing their goalies. They just have not been good at developing forwards. They've proven to
here's the
develop
thing.
defense
Here's the
too.
Here's the thing. Connor Bedard is playing with who? I don't care who you put on his line. Yes, if you add a guy like Nylander or whoever to that line and make it better, you're going to allow Bedard to score more and do what he can. But again, I feel you're going to be your weakest spot is goalie. You're going to be behind a lot. Okay, you're going to be giving up a lot of goals. You're going to be having to climb uphill the entire time. That means teams are going to be able to sit in a defensive mode on you. That means teams will be able to concentrate on Bedard much more because you're going down 1 or 2-0 immediately, and you have to catch up. And even though Bedard knows that right now you're developing, and his job is just to do what he can do, and develop and grow. At the end of the day, points wise, talent wise for this year and next year, I don't think is the year that you have to say is going to be a crazy year for him. In 3 years, you could be watching a top 15 scorer in the NHL, right? You could be talking about a top 10 scorer in the NHL. But I don't believe that in the next 2 years, you're going to be easily, unless you suddenly sign a Hellebuck to your goalie, that you're going to be turning this thing around. Your goalie, you're only going to be as good as your goalie is. If your goalie stinks, I don't care who you are, you're going to lose. You're going to lose. It's so simple like that. It's
not that. You're also
look at the teams that haven't made the playoffs. Look at the Oilers. Why haven't they made it? It's not their scoring. They could score. They're the best power play team. Oh, who's their goalie? Stuart Skinner. Cameron.
So here's a question for you, Wendy.
Okay.
How many minutes does Bedard average this year?
Oh, a lot.
I would say average. Going to be averaging about 20 minutes a game.
How many should he be averaging?
27.
Wow. I'm not even close to that. How many do you think he should be averaging?
Keep him on the ice. Keep him, grow him. Just let him out there personally. 27, 25 minutes.
About 20, probably about 24 and a half.
How about 15?
Oh, hell no.
No, get out of here.
Wait a minute.
Nope.
You have a 17, 18-year-old kid. 18-year-old kid whose body is not fully developed yet, whose stamina in the NHL isn't tested or touched yet, and you're going to give this guy 24 minutes, 27 minutes a game? That's
I said 20.
Guy. Well, I mean, this when I asked what he should, both of you guys came up. You said 24. Shaggy said 27. That will destroy and ruin a guy. And if you want a prime example of that, I'll give you 2 of them. Shaggy, I think you know exactly who I'm talking about.
Well, thank you so much.
Thank you so much. You know who I'm talking about?
Oh, no. Don't say Lafreniere.
Lafreniere and Kako.
Lafreniere has played on the 4th line a ton with New York.
Lafreniere, as much as he played on that 4th line, he has had games in the 29-minute.
Oh, yeah, I know.
But when he came into the league,
Laf, but he just needs the opportunity.
They had him at close to 20 minutes a game. They had Kako at close to 20 minutes a game when he came into the league.
Kako was less. Kako had the problem of injuries and such.
Yeah.
He has been a little, in my opinion, less of a disappointment and just shown that he's going to take longer to develop. Well, I found that Lafreniere was more sad because he has shown potential at times to just be deadly, and he hasn't touched that.
Where do you project Laf to be on a line this year under new coaching?
Who?
I expect him to be on the 3rd line.
Okay.
I expect him to be in the 3rd line, not because I think he's a 3rd line player. Understanding the style of Laviolette, he's gonna want to build a top 6 that he feels is a consistent top 6.
Oh yeah, and I feel
doesn't-
like you might have gotten the right coach for Lafreniere and
Oh
Cackle.
yeah,
in my
yeah.
opinion.
I think he doesn't really allow people. Doesn't something that Gallant did. Gallant gave space a little bit to players. Like if he liked you, he would just go like, "Oh, I like you, so I'm gonna just play you the minutes and not and look past things." While Laviolette really doesn't give for those things. He wants you to play hard. You play hard, he gives you the minutes, right?
Yep.
I think if Lafreniere shows that he's taking the next step, maybe he'll think about a top 6 depending on what's happening. But at this point, Blake Wheeler is going to be in your top 6. Panarin, Zibanejad, Kreider, Trocheck, and Hedl are going to be your top 6. Those are your. I think Kako can make that top 6 because I think that Kako's going to be a player where he's going to say, "Hey, stop playing around. This is not some other league. This is the NHL. Don't play around over here."
Well, hey, we're a little over an hour. We're pushing an hour and a quarter. One last question, and this is for Wendy, but Shags, you can answer it too. Who on the Pittsburgh is going to light Bedard up first?
I actually have my name, and it's not who you. Maybe. I
have a hot take on this.
I have a guy who was going to hit him up.
Come on, Wendy.
Who are you guys saying?
Huh?
Who are you guys going to
No,
say?
I want you first.
I feel like Wendy feels like he's about to get hit by the guy.
I think there's one guy that needs to hit him.
You say Malkin, the guy's a clown.
He may be a clown, but it's not Malkin. Malkin's not my. I said mine's a hot take.
Malkin's the obvious one. I know who I would go for.
Are you
Who
saying
you going for,
Crosby?
Shaggy?
I honestly think Crosby's going to just beat the garbage out of him one game.
I'm right there with you. I'm right there with you.
You know why? Do you know why? Do you know two things? Number one,
Because he's
they
been
try
compared to him
try
so
compare
much.
Bedard to Crosby, and so Crosby is going to be like, let me just show you a little bit of what Crosby's about. And second of all, Crosby's the type of guy that he will. I don't know if you remember that Pittsburgh Rangers series, but he was getting feisty in that series. And one of the reasons why he's become feisty is because when you lose a little bit of that first step as you get older, you become more and more feisty. He's the type of guy to see a guy like Bedard and say, "Hey, let me introduce you to the NHL a little bit." Malkin's only getting after the players who he knows is going to get after him and who he needs to get into their heads.
I'm with you. I think it needs to be Crosby. I think Crosby needs to.
Honestly,
third
do you know who I think? You know who I think wants to be who's going to hit Bedard the hardest?
Who?
Think about it. He's in this year's draft.
Are you saying Fantelli or Carlson?
I'm saying Carlson. I could see Carlson just showing Bedard why he should have gone one.
Bedard may be the only guy from this year's draft that plays the first year.
Fantelli should, because he already. I honestly say Fantelli's going to make the Blue Jackets roster just because the Blue Jackets can use a player like him. They signed him to his ELC, so he's not going back to college.
All right, I got one, so I'll be back. I'll see you a different time. All right.
How old is he? He must be 19 then, right?
No, Fantelli, he's 18. He was just drafted.
Yeah, but he's already done a year of college.
Yeah, but as a 17-year-old.
Okay.
He's 18.
Okay. I was thinking maybe he's going to be 19. Well, see, the thing with that is you can't send him to the ECHL.
The CHL does not have his rights.
Well, no, but the AHL, the ECHL, and what's the other minor leagues?
You could send a player like Fantelli to the AHL because the CHL does not own any of his own any rights for him.
Are you sure?
Yep.
Because I thought you had to be 20.
Nope. You can go to the AHL if a CHL does not own any rights to your player. at all. And I believe no one owns the rights to Adam Fantilli in the CHL because I don't believe he was drafted into the CHL draft because he already committed to playing for Michigan. And now he signed an entry-level deal with the Blue Jackets. He's eligible to be moved to the AHL if they have to.
Okay. I see, but well, I guess that's. I remember when we had with Shane Wright. With Shane Wright, they couldn't send him to the AHL because he wasn't 20.
It was
I remember
because
that with Jake Neighbors.
it's because his rights were owned by a CHL team.
Okay.
There's rules in place. The CHL, if you're a player that was drafted into the CHL, your rights are owned by the CHL team up until they're 20, as long as you're not playing it. So you don't get sent down to the AHL and the CHL is losing out on money. But Fantilli went to the NCAA, which is college, and then went to got drafted into the NHL. He signed his entry level deal. He can get sent down and called up no matter what between AHL and NHL. He's going to start out in the NHL.
Well, hey, Wendy, we're pushing that hour and 20 minutes, so I'm gonna call it a show, man. I want to thank you, and I know Shaq had to run. He was gonna come back, but I'm a little talked out. Thanks so much for joining me today, man.
All right.
I really appreciate it. It was a good show. I mean, we had some good discussions last couple of shows. The show that I did, I don't know how much of you saw with Joel Hamilton, was a real good show.
I had it on the entire time.
Oh, you did? I think I actually convinced him and may have won that argument on him.
Which one? You had a couple, it felt like.
Yeah, well, the main one about the Blues' biggest issue being offense.
Mm-hmm.
Right? And, well, Wendy, thanks so much, man. Have a great day. Catch you again. Maybe we do a show Friday. I don't know yet. We'll see how things go. Guys, have a great... Actually, Friday I have a doctor's appointment. So if I do one Friday, it might be a little later. So we'll see, man. Have a great night, man. And thanks, Wendy.
All right. Thanks.
Aloha, guys. Boys, what do we say?
Who are you, Blues fan? We're bleeding blue with you. Let's